Well, what do you know? I got the call again this week. Late yesterday, my phone rings. It's from Miami, Florida. I answer the phone, and it's my PVP. She tells me the ships that have availability this week, and I will share those ships with you. If you want to go on a cruise literally within the next few days, I'll help you. I'll help you book the cruise. I'll send you my PVP's number. They are cheap. They are ready for all you islanders. Plus, we have an interesting excerpt from an interview with Carnival CEO Arnold Donald. Some interesting comments. It's just kind of bizarre. I wanted to share it with you. And we have Royal Caribbean's new protocols that will be effective the first half of October. Maybe what that means, just half a month of releasing protocols. Let's talk about all the news. Let's go right here on Island Time. A big Tuesday hello to all you islanders. I hope you're having a great day. I'm so glad that you've joined us right here on Island Time. I am your host, Derek, and my goodness, we have all sorts of news to get to. Let's get right into it. There's news that was all over Facebook yesterday evening, all the groups that we're in, and it was on our Facebook page as well. Carnival Cruise Line has made the decision to go ahead and cancel all Faster to the Fun bookings for the remainder of 2021. If you have Faster to the Fun booked, you should have received an email last night. If you've not received it, you will very, very soon, but all of them are canceled. Here's what the email says. I'll show it to you right here. Dear Carnival guests, this communication is being sent to guests who book our Faster to the Fun program for October through December sailing. It is independent from any request that you may have pending for vaccine exemption, and the receipt of this communication is not any indication of the status of your request. We are looking forward to welcoming you on board for your upcoming cruise. Our team has been busy working on the restart of guest operations. Given our focus on implementing new health and safety protocols, we have determined that we will still be unable to deliver the Faster to the Fun program at this time, and it says that it has been canceled. There's no real surprise here, although I know that all of you islanders who have it booked, because we used to book it before we platinum, it enhances your cruise. It's something you look forward to. It's something you pay for, which you're getting your money back, but it's not the end of the world. It's just one more of those things that you have to be ready to adjust, and you have to be ready to accept and keep moving forward. So if you have Faster to the Fun booked through the end of 2021, bam, it's gone. See you later. It's out of here. Hopefully, it picks back up in 2022. We'll see if that happens. Next up, a weird interview, a strange interview with Arnold Donald. I will put the link below, and it's just a print interview. It's not on video. But I'll put the link below so you can see the questions that were asked. Of course, questions were asked about the cruise restart. They were asked about plans for future 2022 and even 2023 bookings and how they look. But the writer, and this is from Associated Press, the writer it was almost weird, really, how the wording of the article read at the beginning. And then a question that was asked by the reporter just kind of, it rubbed me the wrong way, really. It's just really weird. The author of the story, again, it's by the Associated Press, but they, for some reason or another, they point out something that took place in 2013, 8 years ago. And it says, Donald has been CEO since 2013 when he replaced founder Mickey Erickson, who remains chairman. The change came after a fatal accident involving a ship off the coast of Italy in an ill-fated voyage that came to be called the Poop Cruise, when toilets didn't flush as the powerless ship floated in the Caribbean for days. Of course, they're mentioning or referencing the Costa Concordia and the Carnival Triumph. But it was really weird to mention that paragraph in your story. And then they go further. Once you scroll down to the actual interview, listen to this question. I don't get this. I'm not necessarily in the press. Some people say, yes, you are part of the media. You look at what you're doing. I don't have an alternate agenda, though. I report literally what's out there. Listen to this. Here's the question to Arnold Donald, okay, CEO of Carnival. As CEO, You replaced the founder, Mickey Erickson. You came in shortly after Costa Concordia capsized off Italy and the Carnival Triumph drifted around the Caribbean with no power and no toilets after a fire knocked out power. What was that like? Huh? What are you talking about? Events that took place 7 and 8 years ago, you're bringing up your relationship with Mickey Erickson that still works for the company, that is the chairman of the company, that still is heavily involved. He was at the Mardi Gras celebration at Port Canaveral that we attended. We got to meet him. He's always involved. Just a really weird question, to Arnold Donald. His answer is, Mickey hasn't been booted out as CEO, which some people were trying to say in the media. He was a big part of the decision to divide the chairman role and the CEO role, knowing that we had to focus attention on some of these areas that with the publicity of all that and other areas in the business that needed additional focus. That was all constructive. It was collaborative. Weird. If you want to see the rest of the interview, I put it below. You can look at it, but I had to point that out. It was just bizarre. It really was. You want a cruise restart update? I've got your cruise restart update. I always try to throw in these figures at least every other week to let you know kind of where we're at in the Great Cruise Restart. Here's where we're at. 205 ships are expected to be in guest operations by the end of September, which we're about halfway through. So 205 ships with paying passengers by the end of the month. This number means that for the second month in a row, at least half of the world's cruise ships are in operation. That, of course, started last month, now 2 months in a row. There's 90 active cruise lines cruising. I know we only talk about, a little less than a dozen's kind of what we keep up with, especially the U.S. cruise lines, but there are 90 active cruise lines, and they have approximately 410 ships in the water with paying passengers right now. How cool is that? It really, really is. I thought this was interesting too. From May to September, okay, so over the summer, May to September, the average guest capacity per ship grew significantly, and this is per average of 994 to 1,454. And you have to remember that some of these cruise lines and cruise ships in Europe and in Asia and other parts of the world are significantly smaller than those ships that operate out of the United States. But I thought it was interesting that from May to September, capacity has continued to climb. In the United States, we've seen it really just about the same. Carnival, who is at 70%, went down into the 60s. There are some ships. I know the Pride was at 70% when the Pride came back. And so it's Royal Caribbean stayed about the same, between 50 and 60. Same with Celebrity. So it's interesting to see how these cruise lines are coming back and how they're moving forward. And it's going to be fun to see what happens in the fall and winter. Here we go. Royal Caribbean protocols. It's always interesting. Some of you islanders, you sail with multiple cruise lines. Some of you love your one and only cruise line. You may be a Carnival follower. You cruise only Carnival, which there's nothing wrong with that. You may love Royal Caribbean and you're loyal to Royal, is what they say. It's always interesting to compare the protocols and to see the stance that each company takes. And honestly, it's very, very similar because of the rules in place by the CDC and what's working. If it works for one company, why would another company not use kind of that same roadmap? So here's what we have. I think it's very interesting, though, that Royal Caribbean released their protocols for October the 1st through the 15th. Like maybe it could be different for those cruises that are the 16th through the 31st. Who knows? We're getting really close to that key date of October 31st, November 1st, with a conditional sale order is set to expire. Will it happen? I don't really see it. We'll see what happens with it, but that could be into play as well. So here we go. Royal Caribbean will make it quick. August 12, age of 12 or older must bring proof of vaccination. It's that case with Carnival. It's that case with Celebrity. It's that case with Norwegian. You got to have your 2 shots, Moderna or Pfizer, your 1 shot Johnson & Johnson. 14 days after that, show your card. It is a requirement across the industry, and it's going to be for the rest. Well, Carnival's already said the rest of the year, Royal Caribbean says through mid-October, so that's interesting. Testing. Guests will need to meet the new requirements of being tested 2 days before their cruise. Remember, it was 3 days for cruise lines, and now the CDC recommended it be 2 days. Cruise lines have switched to this 2 days. So vaccinated guests 12 and older are required to present a negative COVID-19 test result. It can be antigen or PCR, okay, for a test taken no more than 2 days prior to the ship's departure date, and they have to present that when they arrive at the terminal. Royal Caribbean now recommends, and this is interesting, they're recommending that you use the take-home test. We had a video last week of how to purchase that testing kit. Carnival has also partnered with Quest, and you can purchase that testing kit at home and take your test at home. That alleviates some of the pressure and stress of getting those results by places like CVS and Walgreens, who was great to be tested for a long, long time. But if you live in an area like I do, they're not testing right now. I have a Walgreens and a CVS 10 miles from me. They are not testing for whatever reason. Unvaccinated guests ages 2 to 11 are required to present a negative PCR test. Must be a PCR test, which again is across the industry right now for COVID-19, and it has to be taken no more than 3 days prior to your sailing departure, because it takes longer to process those tests. In addition to the pre-cruise test, kids will also have to take 1 or 2 more additional tests, which those fees are they're passed on, of course, to the customer. You have to take a test at the terminal. Unvaccinated guests ages 2 through 11 are required to take a PCR test for COVID-19 when checking into the terminal, again, across the industry. And then prior to disembarkation for sailings 5 nights or longer, unvaccinated guests from 2 to 11 are required to take an antigen test on board within 24 hours before the cruise ends. So, guests under 2, you don't have to be tested. That's interesting there as well. Wearing of mask applies to all guests except for guests under the age of 2 who do not need to wear a mask. Masks are not required to be worn in open air areas of the ship unless you are in a crowded setting. So the lounges, for instance, you don't have to wear a mask unless it is a full lounge. Then they may ask you to wear a mask. In the pool or any activity where they may become wet. So you don't have to wear a mask in the pool, in hot tubs, water slides, things like that. At venues designated for vaccinated guests only. Remember, the CDC has said, we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to designate certain areas for only vaccinated guests. Royal Caribbean is still doing that. But there are bars, lounges, and restaurants and shows which are reserved for vaccinated guests only. That is for Royal Caribbean. That is not for Carnival Cruise Line or the others. You don't have to wear a mask in your stateroom. You do have to wear a mask while indoors in public areas of the ship, unless seated and actively eating or drinking, and while visiting the public ports of call, where local regulations make you wear masks. So most of those protocols we've seen, they're familiar. I could read those. And if you cruised Carnival, you could almost say, well, those are Carnival's protocols. And they are for the most part. There's a couple of different variants that we pointed out. But those are the protocols through mid-October, so we know what cruising looks like for the next month with the Royal Caribbean. And we're excited to see what happens the last part of October and into the fall and winter. And finally, if you're looking to cruise, I got the phone call from my PVP who said, Derek, what are you doing next week? I said, working, unfortunately. She said, where do you want to go? The Mardi Gras, the Vista, the Panorama, or if you need a shorter cruise, how about the Breeze or the Dream? Who comes back? I said, Tracy, you're killing me. You're killing me. I have to sit here and work. If I were retired, or if Amanda didn't teach school, we would be gone. $50. $50 is what you pay. You get $50 onboard credit. This is not a casino offer. They're trying to reach particular numbers, and some of you have asked, what are they trying to eventually hit? They're at this, 65. Some ships are still at 70, but the break-even point on a lot of these ships is 40 and 45%. We've had a lot of questions that have asked that, so I wanted to answer it. 45% really is about the break-even point. They want it to be 65, 70%. So if you can cruise in the next several days, you want to cruise, let me know. I'm not booking your cruise for you. I don't do that. but I can share a contact information with someone who can, and you'll get an extraordinary deal. The only thing I ask in return is you better send me pictures. You better keep me updated. You better find me on Facebook and let me know what the heck is going on out there while I'm working and you're cruising. That's all I ask. I hope you have a great day. I really do. There's so much going on. We're going to keep you updated right here on Island Time as we always do. If you're not an Islander yet, please subscribe. Become part of this community and be an active part in what we do. We appreciate all of you and we hope that you have a great day. We will see you tomorrow right here on Island Time.